A number of top Republicans continue to urge the party to break from Trump ahead of 2024. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who's mulling his own presidential bid, tweeted this on Friday: "We were told we'd get tired of winning, but I'm tired of losing. And so are most Republicans." Here is what New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said during a meeting of the Republican Jewish Coalition on Saturday.
Candidate quality matters. Holy cow, have we learned that one the tough way. Look, here's a good policy. I got a great policy for the Republican Party. Let's stop supporting crazy, unelectable candidates in our primaries and start getting behind winners that can close the deal in November. There's a unique decision for you. I mean, really, holy cow. That's important. Don't just assume it's all going to work out.
We keep losing and losing and losing. And the fact of the matter is, the reason we're losing is because Donald Trump has put himself before everybody else. Donald Trump picked candidates with one criteria, only one: not electability, not experience, not wisdom, not charisma, not the ability to govern. But do you believe the 2020 election was stolen or not? If you do, I endorse you. If you don't, I reject you. Well, let me tell you, that's not what this party stands for. It's not what it should stand for in the future. And we've got to stop up and stop it now.
Governor Christie also said over the weekend Republicans have to stop treating Trump like Voldemort. They need to say his name out loud and confront him when they disagree with him. Former House Speaker Paul Ryan warned yesterday Republicans will lose the White House if the party supports Donald Trump in 2024.
It's palpable right now. We get past Trump, we start winning elections. We stick with Trump, we keep losing elections. That's just how I see it.
But he had incredible power in the primaries.
Yeah.
I mean, his candidates won in the Republican primaries almost across the board.
That's the point. He can get his people through the primaries, but they can't win general elections. So it's really clear. I think the Republican voter is going to move on. That's why I don't think he ends up winning the nomination at the end of the day. I think we have a great stable of good, capable conservatives who are more than capable of winning this primary for presidency and winning the election. And I think Republican voters know that. So that's why I think our voters, ultimately, who really want to win, are going to give us candidates who can win.
What will it mean to the Republican Party if he actually wins the nomination again?
We probably likely lose the White House. We just did in 20. So I think we probably lose the White House with Trump. And if there's someone not named Trump, my guess is we win the White House.
But if I'm saying if he wins the general election, if he becomes president again, I mean, the way Liz Cheney has put it, it's like an existential threat to the country.
I just don't think I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he'll win.
He's just unelectable.
I think he's unelectable because that suburban voter, you think he's more popular since the 2020 election with the swing voter in America or less?
No evidence of that at all. Yeah. But he does seem to have a hold on a good chunk of the Republican Party. Whether or not it's a majority, we'll see.
That's right. But I think he's going to continue to lose altitude because we want to win. And we know with him we lose. We have a string of losses to prove that point. And there are a lot of really good, capable conservatives who people I think like that are more than capable of not only being good conservatives in office, but can win elections. Look, here's how I was not an ever Trumper.
You worked with a speaker. I mean,
I governed with him, and I'm very proud of those days. I'm proud of the accomplishments of the tax reform, the deregulation of criminal justice reform. I'm really excited about the judges we got on the bench, not just the Supreme Court, but throughout the judiciary. But I am a never again Trumper. Why? Because I want to win. And we lose with Trump. It was really clear to us in 18, in 20, and now in 2022.
Former Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan there. So, Charlie Sykes, there will be people watching those last several clips over the last couple of minutes and say, okay, but we've seen this movie before. Yeah. After January 6th, some Republicans walked out on the ledge and said, I'm done, enough, we can't have Donald Trump with us. They turned around and saw there weren't a whole lot of people with them and walked back where they were. Is this time different just for the practical question of he lost the midterm elections effectively for them a couple of weeks ago. He lost the White House. He lost in 18. He lost the special election in 2021, and they want to hold on to power.
Yeah, it's it's only going to be different if it's different, having seen all the other times the Republicans have walked up to this line. But having said that, I think one of the most interesting things over the weekend was watching that parade of presidential candidates. Donald Trump did not sweep the field by preemptively getting into the race. Nobody backed away. If, in fact, he did have an iron grip on the party, and he is still the dominant force in the party, you would have thought that other candidates would have backed away from a direct challenge, but they didn't. But on the other hand, listening to my good friend Paul Ryan, and I wish he would have said these things a long time ago, you'll notice that he is confining himself just to saying that Trump is a loser. I think this is important that Republicans, I think this is a significant development that Republicans are now saying we need to turn the page, we need to move on, he will lose for us. And maybe that will hit with primary voters. But then he was asked the question, well, what if Donald Trump became president again? What would it mean? And he's not willing to say that Donald Trump is unfit to be president of the United States. He is unwilling to say that it's not just a matter of winning and losing, but this is a man who lacks the character to be president of the United States, that he does pose an existential threat to our democratic order. And so I wonder whether or not it's necessary that Republicans notice he's a loser, but I wonder whether it's sufficient, because if you're going to continue to say he was a great president and I was proud to work with him, it's all about losing, I'm not sure that's going to be enough to dethrone Donald Trump.
So we just heard from Chris Christie a moment ago saying the Republican Party was not the party that embraced the big lie. And I'm going to respectfully disagree. That is who they are. The vast majority of Republicans have embraced the big lie. They have kowtowed to whatever Trump wants. And yes, as you just mentioned, there have been moments where the party could have broken from Trump. It never, ever does. And we should tap the brakes here. Trump maybe is at a weak moment at this particular, as we sit here in the middle of November, late November, but polling suggests that he still has a significant lead over, say, Ron DeSantis, perhaps his most formidable 2024 opponent. And Mike Barnicle, it is encouraging, I suppose, for some Republicans to see that there are some voices who are willing to speak out. We heard from Pence, we heard from Pompeo, we heard from Christie. There have been some others, and a lot of them are mulling their own 2024 presidential bid. But in a way, that plays right into Trump's hands, because Trump has a loyal base of support. And the bigger that field gets, the more likely he's going to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a large field, he does have a better shot at coming out on top. You're absolutely right. But I think Charlie put his finger on a key point here. We saw Governors Sununu and Christie both speaking. And Charlie's point is valid, and I wonder about it myself. And Charlie, maybe you can expand upon it. Doesn't it really prove the point that Donald Trump has instilled such fear in other Republican candidates that they go right up to the tripwire of answering the question of if he does indeed, God forbid, become president of the United States again, it poses a threat to national security and a threat to the larger existence of the United States of America as we know it.
Yes, that's exactly right. Because, of course, the big fear is that Donald Trump is prepared to burn the house down if he doesn't get the nomination. So there's going to be a little bit of tentativeness there, but also the recognition that if you say that, you've essentially excommunicated yourself from this Republican Party. Ask Liz Cheney what happens when you say, I'm never again Trumper in that particular way. So that is one of the lines that they don't want to cross. They don't want to say that they would not support a Republican or that they would vote for a Democrat. And again, does that really sound the alarm about Donald Trump? I mean, I understand the logic here that if you're going to move past Trump, you're going to have to get Republican voters who will say, okay, that was fine. Let's give him a gold watch. We need to turn the page. And this is the theme. We need to turn the page because we are losing. But I'm just not sure that that content-free, morality-free position is going to be enough. We've seen it before.
Interesting, Charlie.